At 68, I was tired of feeling like my body was slipping away from me. I had spent most of my life avoiding doctor's offices, thinking I was doing okay. But then came that day. The doctor looked me in the eye and said, "You're right on the edge." My blood sugar had been creeping higher. My knees were swollen. I couldn't sleep through the night without getting up to pee. And my energy? Gone before lunchtime. I felt like a balloon with a slow leak, deflating quietly, day by day. But deep inside, something pushed back. I wasn't ready to give in. I wasn't ready to make insulin my life sentence. So I made a promise. Before I turned 70, I would take control of my health, and I'd start with the one thing nobody talks about enough: what we drink. Most people think managing blood sugar is all about what's on your plate. And sure, food matters. But the real wake-up call for me? Realizing that what I was sipping throughout the day had more power than I'd ever imagined. See, after 60, your body isn't the same. Your liver slows down. Your cells get stubborn about letting insulin do its job. And your metabolism? Like an old engine in winter, groggy and grumbling. Some drinks quietly spike your blood sugar, inflame your joints, and mess with your sleep. But others, the right ones, they support your pancreas, curb cravings, and help you heal in ways you never thought a cup of something could. So I started swapping out what I used to reach for: the orange juice that pretended to be healthy, the soda I'd sip for a little energy, the creamer-loaded coffee that made my mornings crash harder than they started. Instead, I built a new rhythm, a quiet, steady one. And that rhythm started every morning with something almost too simple: lemon water, just warm water and half a lemon. I used to roll my eyes at stuff like that, thought it was for yoga moms and health nuts. But when I gave it a shot, something shifted. Within a few days, I felt lighter. My stomach didn't balloon after breakfast. My joints didn't ache when I climbed out of bed. And best of all, my blood sugar didn't spike like it used to. Turns out, that little squeeze of citrus does more than freshen up your water. It wakes up your liver, helps flush out toxins, and gives your system a gentle nudge to start metabolizing sugar better. Now I keep lemons on the counter, always in sight. It's my visual reminder that healing doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be consistent. And that's the truth for anyone over 60. Consistency is king. The flash-in-the-pan trends don't work for us, but small steps, taken every day, that's where the magic is. That's how we reclaim our bodies. I used to think orange juice was good for me, until I learned that one glass has more sugar than a can of soda. Replacing it with lemon water didn't just cut back my sugar intake, it reset my cravings. I didn't even want the sweet stuff anymore. And that right there, that's what I call a turning point. But lemon water was just the beginning. Around lunchtime, I reached for something I never thought I'd like: unsweetened green tea. I'll be honest, the first few cups tasted like wet leaves. I missed my sweet tea. I missed my caramel lattes, but I gave it a week, and that week changed me. Green tea contains a compound called EGCG. Sounds fancy, but what it does is simple. It helps your cells respond to insulin better. That means less sugar floating around in your blood and more of it going where it belongs, into your cells for energy. 1 cup of green tea after lunch became my afternoon reset button. No more post-meal crashes, no more sugar cravings that hit like a train at 3 p.m. I even started sleeping better. See, coffee in the afternoon kept me up at night, and poor sleep messes with blood sugar in ways most people don't even realize. But green tea gave me just enough caffeine to stay alert without stealing my rest. I brew it in batches now. Keep a jar in the fridge next to the milk. Hot in winter, cold in summer. No sugar, no honey, just the tea and the water. It's not about fancy, it's about effective. And when you're working to stay off insulin, every small advantage matters. Green tea gave me that. A quiet advantage. One that calmed my digestion, sharpened my mind, and helped me feel more like myself. Then came the wild one: apple cider vinegar. I'll never forget the first time I drank it. I thought someone was playing a prank. 1 tablespoon in a big glass of water before dinner. That's all. It smelled like a salad gone wrong, but within a week, my evening blood sugar started behaving. No more post-dinner spikes, no more heavy, sleepy crashes on the couch. Apple cider vinegar works like a bouncer. It slows how fast sugar gets into your blood after you eat, especially carbs. And let's face it, I'm still eating carbs. I just don't want them running wild in my bloodstream. It also helped kill my late-night snacking habit. Something about that tangy drink made me feel full, grounded. I wasn't pacing the kitchen anymore, looking for something sweet. I used the raw, unfiltered kind, the one with the mother. Sounds weird, I know, but that's where the good bacteria and enzymes live. They help your gut, and your gut health plays a huge role in blood sugar control. Some people add cinnamon or lemon, but I keep it simple. Just water and vinegar. Start with a teaspoon if you're new to it. It's not about being perfect. It's about listening to your body and giving it what helps, not what hurts. Let me pause right here and say this. If anything I've shared so far has made you think, hey, maybe I can try that, then I'd love to invite you to stick around. This channel, Calm Voice Wellness, is about more than tips. It's about taking back your health gently, day by day, without guilt or overwhelm. If you're someone who's tired of feeling powerless over your numbers, your cravings, or your energy, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Let's walk this road together. You're not too late. You're not broken. You're just getting started. There was something about making that vinegar drink a daily habit that felt honest. Not glamorous, not trendy, just real. It wasn't a supplement with a fancy label or a new pill that promised the world. It was raw, a little unpleasant, but it worked. And when you're staring down the road of chronic illness, anything that works, quietly and consistently, starts to feel sacred. That's the word I use now. Sacred. Not because it's magic, but because it's mine. It's part of how I take care of myself, how I show up for my life, how I say, I'm still here, and I still matter. Another drink that surprised me wasn't even on my radar until a neighbor mentioned it during one of those front porch chats where people really talk. Cinnamon tea, just a cinnamon stick boiled in water. That's it. I tried it one evening, curious more than hopeful, and what I got was something warm, comforting, and just sweet enough to satisfy that after-dinner dessert craving. But it didn't stop there. A few weeks into making it part of my nightly routine, I noticed my fasting blood sugar numbers in the morning had dropped. Not by much, but they were more stable, steadier. And for someone trying to avoid insulin, stability is everything. Cinnamon has this amazing property. It mimics insulin. It helps move sugar out of your blood and into your cells. But the beauty is, it does this gently, without creating the highs and crashes that leave you dizzy or exhausted. Plus, it calms the stomach, which for me was a huge win. I used to go to bed bloated and wake up still full, sluggish. Cinnamon tea changed that. No honey, no sugar, just the spice and the water. Sometimes I'd add a chamomile bag to make it even more relaxing, especially if the day had been rough. And the best part? It helped my joints. Maybe it was the antioxidants, or maybe just the fact that I wasn't ending every dinner with a slice of cake anymore. Either way, I woke up with less pain, and that made everything else a little easier. If you're someone who's ever thought, I'm too old to change, let me tell you something from experience. You're not. The body remembers, it responds, it wants to heal. All it needs is a little help, a little space, and a little consistency. That's what these drinks became for me. Not miracles, but steady friends. Tools. Helpers. And speaking of helpers, let's talk about the one I almost dismissed as just another Instagram trend. Chia seed water. Tiny seeds. So small, you almost don't believe they can do anything, but when you soak them in water, they swell up into this gel-like texture that, honestly, feels weird at first. But weird isn't always bad. I started with 1 tablespoon of chia seeds in a big glass of filtered water. Let it sit 15 minutes, then drink it slowly in the afternoon. And just like that, my urge to snack disappeared. I used to hit the pantry every day around 3 p.m., like clockwork. Salty, sweet, whatever I could find. But the chia water changed that. I felt fuller, calmer, more in control. Those seeds are loaded with fiber. When they turn to gel, they slow down how fast your body digests carbs. That means no sudden spikes in blood sugar after meals. It also helped with digestion, less bloating, more regularity. And let me just say this, after 60, regular digestion is not something you take for granted. It's a gift. I felt lighter. My stomach didn't argue with me as much. And the benefits didn't stop there. Chia seeds also carry omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, antioxidants. All the things our hearts, brains, and joints are quietly begging for. Hydration even improved because the gel helps your body hold onto water more effectively. Now, I keep a small jar of chia seeds next to the coffee station. That way, every day, it's in sight. I don't forget. Some days I toss in a slice of cucumber or a little lemon for flavor. Most days, plain works just fine. It's not flashy, but it's one of the most powerful habits I've ever adopted, and all for less than $1 a week. If you're starting to see a pattern here, good, because none of these things require a credit card or a prescription. They just require intention, attention, and a little willingness to try. And just when I thought I'd found my groove, a friend from church told me about something her mother used to drink back in Trinidad, barley water. I'd never even heard of it before, but I was curious. So I looked it up, and turns out, in many cultures, barley water is a staple for folks recovering from illness or just trying to stay well. I bought some pearl barley, boiled it in water, strained it, and drank the liquid. Simple. Nutty flavor. Not bad, honestly. But what it did? That's what made it stick. My blood sugar after meals? Steadier. My energy? More even. And my ankles, those puffy, aching ankles that used to swell by dinner, started to look like they belonged to someone 20 years younger. Barley is rich in a type of fiber called beta-glucan. It traps sugar and cholesterol in your gut and slows their absorption. That's like gold when you're watching your A1C and your triglycerides. Plus, it left me feeling full longer. On days I drank barley water with lunch, I wasn't reaching for bread or sweets by mid-afternoon. It was like my body felt satisfied, balanced. That's a rare feeling these days. I make a batch in the morning, keep it in a glass pitcher in the fridge. No additives, sometimes a lemon slice or cinnamon stick for flavor, but mostly just the barley and the water. And it helped in ways I didn't expect. Less inflammation, less joint stiffness, less of that heavy, slow ache I used to wake up with. I don't call anything a miracle, but this was a quiet ally, a companion that didn't make noise but made a difference. These drinks, lemon water, green tea, apple cider vinegar, cinnamon tea, chia water, barley water, they're not fads, they're foundations. And then there's the one we all overlook, the one that costs nothing, that doesn't need to be infused or flavored, just plain clean water. You'd be amazed how many days I went without truly drinking any. Coffee in the morning, soda at lunch, juice at dinner, and I wondered why I felt tired, bloated, achy, foggy. Dehydration doesn't always show up as thirst. Sometimes it's your blood sugar climbing. Sometimes it's your kidneys struggling. Sometimes it's your joints aching. I didn't know that back then, but now I do. But let's talk real life. Imagine an elderly man named Richard, 72, who lived alone after losing his wife. He'd always had trouble with his legs, aching, swelling by evening, and more recently, a strange warmth behind his left knee. His doctor warned him it might be a clot forming and prescribed blood thinners. Richard wasn't thrilled about the side effects, especially the bruising and constant blood tests, but he started looking into his own research and found something interesting. Studies showing that people who consumed more vitamin K2 had better vascular elasticity and fewer calcifications. So, he started small, adding more fermented cheeses, switching to free-range eggs, and even trying a low-dose K2 supplement. 6 months later, his doctor noticed improvements. Not enough to stop his medication entirely, but enough to reduce his dosage. The swelling went down, the pain eased, and Richard felt, for the first time in years, that he had control over his health. What's important to remember is that nutrients don't work in isolation. Vitamin K2 relies heavily on its relationship with vitamin D3. These two are like partners in a dance. Vitamin D helps absorb calcium, and K2 tells it where to go. If you flood your system with D3 but don't have enough K2, you risk pushing calcium into the arteries, not the bones. The synergy between them is vital. That's why some of the most effective supplements on the market now combine these two into one formula, offering not just bone support, but heart and circulatory benefits too. And let's not forget the role of magnesium, another quiet hero. Magnesium is necessary for over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. And when it comes to cardiovascular health, it's an unsung warrior. It relaxes blood vessels, improves circulation, and enhances the function of vitamin D and K2. Many older adults are deficient in magnesium without even realizing it. Maybe they've got restless legs at night or occasional heart palpitations. Sometimes it's subtle, like fatigue that doesn't go away, or muscle twitches they ignore. But when magnesium, D3, and K2 are in balance, the body begins to function like a well-oiled machine. Take Angela, a retired teacher from Arizona. She had been battling fatigue and high blood pressure for years. She tried walking more, eating better, even reducing stress. But nothing really worked until a wellness practitioner suggested a full nutrient panel. It revealed low magnesium and suboptimal vitamin D. She adjusted her diet to include more leafy greens, added a magnesium glycinate supplement, and started taking a D3/K2 combo. In under 3 months, her energy rebounded, her blood pressure dropped slightly, and the brain fog that used to cloud her mornings was gone. It wasn't magic, it was just restoring the body's natural biochemistry. All of this points to a deeper truth. The human body is beautifully interconnected. You can't target one symptom and expect a full resolution without considering the system as a whole. Blood clots aren't just about the clot. They're about the environment that allowed it to form. Inflammation, lack of movement, poor circulation, nutrient imbalances, dehydration, and stress, they all play a part. That's why lifestyle, not just medicine, must be part of the conversation. And this is where the wellness in our channel name truly comes alive. At Calm Voice Wellness, we believe healing is as much about the calm, consistent choices we make every day as it is about the interventions that grab headlines. It's the daily walk in the sun that boosts your vitamin D, the laughter over a meal of natto or aged cheese that fills your plate with K2, the deep breath you take before bed that slows your heart rate and gives your blood vessels a break. Healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. So, if you've been feeling off lately, tingling in the feet, heaviness in the legs, or just that nagging sense something isn't quite right, don't wait for a full-blown emergency to pay attention. Your body is speaking, and nutrients like vitamin K2, D3, and magnesium might just be the language it needs to restore balance. Before we end, if this story or these insights spoke to you, we invite you to subscribe to Calm Voice Wellness. Here, we don't shout, we guide. Gently, honestly, and with science-backed knowledge tailored to real life. Because your health deserves more than a quick fix. It deserves your full attention, spoken softly, but heard deeply. Let this be your quiet turning point.